there's little places, and there's a little flat place. It's probably not much bigger than this room, and the stream comes out, goes through it, and there's tall grass and stuff, and then it goes back down through a hole and disappears again into the. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, artesian water. I found some of those up on top of the mountains. Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff like that in the Uintas that...
You ain't a kidding. So I found a hole up there that was black, like what you're talking about. I had went over a ridge like that, and there was big rocks and talus open, but a little bit of dirt spots here and there, like you're talking about, as big as this front room, or as big as this carpet, even smaller. And I was going up over there, and I was fishing. And I was fishing a no-name lake right below Kings Peak, and there was some lily pad ponds over there too. And I wanted to hike over from there and go over this pass and go down and fish these lily pad ponds. Well, when I get up there, there's this hole of water, like what you're talking about. The water would come out of the ground, it would go and it went right back in this hole, and the water was just black. The hole was full. And I'm like, I wanted to see how deep it was. This is up on top of the mountain. And I wanted to see how deep, so I got my fishing pole. I got it in a little rod case, so it don't get damaged. And I take my backpack, my little pack off, and get my rod out. And my dog's there, and my horse is down at the lake down there grazing. And so I'm up there, and I'm up pretty far up there. And I just want to go over and day fish them ponds and come back. Well, I find this hole of water, and it's maybe 8 feet across. So I get my pole out, and I get it all wired, get it all lined out, and put a spinner on it for weight, because I want to drop it in the hole and see how deep it is. Honest to God, I flipped that down in that water to let it, just flipped it out there and let the bail open so it would, the bail's open, okay? And I'm just going to let line string out and see how deep this is.
Some slack.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of slack automatically, so the bail's open. So I open the bail and I flip it in there, and as soon as that thing hits the water, whammo! Something hit that spinner. I never seen what it was, but it displaced enough water to soak me up to the knees.
Really?
And I never seen what it was. I never seen a flash. I never seen a fin. I never seen nothing.
It took your whole line?
Took the spinner and everything. Took the spinner. I mean, the bail's open, right? So there's no drag on it. But I didn't, no spinner. I got that back, I put that back, and I got out of there. I went right back to where I was fishing down for them big brookies over where my horse is tied up down to the lake down below. And I thought for sure that night, the creature from the Black Lagoon was going to come meet me that night at camp. I have no idea what that was, but that was only an 8-foot hole. What was living in that? So I went down to the dive shop in Vernal and told them divers what I had found. And told them the story, and they said, we ain't going in that. I said, why don't you take a camera up there or something and drop a camera down in there and see if it was a light and see if you just see anything or even get your camera back. But whatever it was big.
Oh, man.
This thing was big, whatever it was.
How far is that to get there? I got a couple guys.
So I'm there.
Drones with cameras on them.
There's no trail getting to it, and I know how to get to it. I've been there several times. So, from the time I leave my house 7 in the morning, I could be to that hole by 1 o'clock. You'd have to stay the night at the lake. It'd be an overnight trip.
Yeah.
But I could get to that hole by 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I got several guys with underwater drones with cameras and lights, and one that's even got an arm on it that he can pick things up.
Now, I don't know what's in this hole. I have no idea what took my spinner. But whatever it was so big, Terry, that it displaced that much water. Now, I've caught big bass, big browns out of the river stuff. They never splashed me like that. They never even got my feet hardly wet splashing down by the river. And I'm talking 25-inch brown that weighs 5-6 pounds, kicking water with these fins and stuff and maybe getting my feet a little bit wet, but not clear up to my knee. What was in that hole? It blows my mind. And I don't get scared real easy. And I do a lot.
It might be a 8-inch hole here and a
it might go
cavern underneath.
It might. Yeah. That's possible. That's quite possible. Now
one of them dinosaurs that old June and that old
like Spirit Lake, right?
that what's his name talked to June about. Old
Seen the shadows of the dinosaurs going in the water, the mom and the big one and the little one, and the baby, yeah.
So
Wobbin was at the edge of the lake counting them boxes. And like I say, he counted them 3 times so that he would know where he was, and he wanted me to remember. He said as he was looking at them, he said all of a sudden he seen a big shadow go through the water. And he didn't know what it was, but he just watched it, and he said, now what I'm going to tell you now is Wobbin's own words to me. It's not me that's, I'm telling you what he told me. He said that he watched the shadow go north out of the lake. And he said, all of a sudden, a small dinosaur-looking animal. Well, the way he told me, he said this animal walked out of the water on the south side of the lake. And I said, well, what were they? And he said, those same damn things over in Vernal. And I said, what do you mean, same damn things over in Vernal? He says, dinosaurs. I kind of laughed at him. I said, are you sure there was a dinosaur? And he said, they look just like the ones in Vernal. He said, why wouldn't they be? He said, as I was looking at this young one, or small one, he said, here come another shadow, and it was a big one. And when it came out, it looked like it must be the mother of the small one. And they was both out on the south side of the lake walking around. And I wished I'd have went over and looked and seen if there was any good footprints, but I didn't even think about it. But he said that finally that they left the south side, went back in the water, and went north to go wherever they was going. He said, I didn't know them damn things lived back in that mountain, because he said the lake was right at the base of a mountain. And I said, well, all right, I'm going to go up and look around. He said, well, when you go, he says, on the south side in the bushes, there's a skull of one of those things. After they left and went in the water, I went down and walked around, and I found that skull. And he said, it's still there. He says, them skulls last a long time. He said, I don't know how long that was in there or what caused it to die there. But he says, when you go there, that's the first thing you want to see and try to find. So I went up and I found that area pretty easy what he was looking for, but there was a lot of hunting going on at that time. And Wobbin said when he was up there, there was hunting going on around, and he heard some shots. And he said when he heard them shots, he says he thought it was an Indian and he was going to get killed for showing me these. He says, so I run up on the side of the mountain in the trees and just sit there for, I know I must have sit there for 2 hours waiting to see somebody come out. But he said, I realized it was probably just the shot of a hunter up there hunting. And he said, so I left and come out. So he says, you know what to look for, so you go up. If you find anything, you let me know. Well, the first thing I looked for was that skull, and I couldn't find it. But I think you could now after that fire. That fire went all up through that area and just cleaned the trees and everything right out.
Yeah.
There's a skull laying there. Now would be the time to go up and look for it.
Yeah.
So you've heard of, this is a stretch, Loch Ness Monster in Moon Lake, supposedly has been seen there.
Yep. There's several accounts of it. Yeah.
So I guess there's underwater river channels, there's no bottom to the lake, and I guess there's all these old river channels going all over the place.
Yeah.
Is there things like that living on our planet? Could this be the home of one in this hole?
They found.
Jenny Bolton tells about how their boat was almost tipped over by a lake monster in Moon Lake. It's a small lake in the Uinta Mountains in Utah. And she says it was a calm day while they was out there boating. The kids were getting ready to go ride the water weenies that was going to be towed by the boat. And they were having the time of their lives, she says. She says they saw something out in the distance, but they really didn't think anything about it. They went on with their boating activities, and after lunch, they went back out to the lake. The children were looking at the lake, and they saw the strange-looking thing again. This time it was following the boat. The faster they went, the faster it went. They didn't know what to do or what it was. The thought of getting off the lake ran through their mind, and she says, we went for it. But as soon as we went toward the shore, the thing went and blocked our way. As we got closer, we could tell this was no ordinary giant fish. It was a black, ugly, bumpy monster-looking thing. By then, I was terrified, she says. We didn't want to make the monster mad, so we decided to stay out on the lake for a little while longer. Time passed and the monster held its ground. Getting tired of just sitting there, we decided that we would try to make an escape. When we tried to get away, the monster came up to our boat and tried to capsize it. Our boat almost tipped over and some of our children nearly went overboard. We didn't know what to do. The rocking boat had all of us scared to death. It was all we could do to sit and calmly wait for some help or something to happen. It was getting close to nightfall and the sun was beginning to go down and the children were getting restless, but we were too scared to even try and go to sleep. At last another boat came out to see if we was having problems or something. They were coming to our rescue. The boat seen the monster and tried to distract the monster while we raced to shore. The other boat followed closely behind with the monster on its tail. Soon, however, the monster disappeared under the water about 300 yards out. We immediately packed up and left Moon Lake, and to this day we have never returned or even gone boating anywhere else.
They found prehistoric fish. Some fishermen actually pulled it out, and it's something they thought was extinct for millions and millions of years.
Interesting.
I don't know if it was an Italian fisherman or something, but they pulled out this, and it was ancient prehistoric fish that was supposedly.
Well, they're finding creatures now coming up out of the Pacific Ocean from down in the bottom of the Mariana Trench that they don't know what they are, coming up on the shores and dying along the California coastline and Oregon coastline.
Huh.
Ancient looking things. I don't know why they're coming up and dying, but they're finding stuff. I've seen some videos on some of the stuff they're finding. Giant octopuses and squids and funny looking creatures that they've never even seen before. And they didn't think that squids and octopuses got this big. But there was one on the Oregon coastline that was just a monster. Like you see back during the
Like the
ship,
Kraken story.
yeah, like the Kraken story. You know, the thing comes out and just grabs a hold of the Spanish galleon and pulls it underwater. You know. Hey.